Few details have been marinating in my head for the past few days as the market seems to be looking for a bottom, yet no negative news has surfaced. While I think we're mostly bottomed, another slightly lower low with a news narrative might give that confirmation. I saw news about Uphold ending support for a variety of stablecoins, including Tether, in order to be compliant with MiCA regulations. That's crazy to me. There's a lot of alts whose liquidity are only paired with Tether, so this undoubtedly has the potential to cause chaos. On the other hand, I've seen Tether FUD at really opportune times in the market before, so articles like this one from the Daily News could be a sign of the narrative they're going to push or that the bottom is near. Remember, it's not common that they give you bad news at the top of a market or good news at the bottom. Whatever the case, it's weird this is showing up at the same moment as Ripple's new stablecoin, RLUSD or Real USD, is arriving, and this will also be able to be MiCA compliant. Only it and a few others, like USDC, will be on Uphold. Clearly, it's a crackdown on stablecoins. Uh, it's just a matter of when it happens. They could say this is all happening next week, but then the actual investigations could take years to unfold. That's what happened in 2021, and still nothing meaningful came of it, so who knows? So, meanwhile, the SEC has suspended its investigation into Ethereum a couple days ago. I can't say I'm surprised because of their ties to ETHgate, yet again, it's that timing I'm wondering about. Perhaps they dropped the investigation to free up resources? Um, all this in combination with how many alts are double bottoming, like Atom, or going into a spring like A0 and Casper, makes me think we're about to see one more whack to the downside. Not much, but something slightly lower on some of them that makes all the structures look broken. And think about it. All the brutal price action recently came in without a narrative, so why would they waste this opportunity? I think they're giving us hints through the media as well as their actions. Why else delist USDT, GUSD, etc.? Why stop the investigation of Ethereum? Why all in the same week that alts are hitting significant lows? It's simple. The final flush is designed to put your alts in their hands at a discount. So, synthesizing it all, it seems to me in the coming days or weeks we might see the SEC start to go after stablecoins. Not to mention they'd be incriminating themselves if they go further into the investigating Ethereum, but that's another story. In short, their guiltiness only increases their motive to go after someone else. On a more esoteric note, I've mentioned the number 28 a lot of times in the past few months in regards to its connections to our eclipse cycles. I found it pretty interesting how the stablecoin changes will actually go into effect on June 28th. This all aligns perfectly with the full moon window, typically more bearish time in the market. And you can see here the full moon comes in on the 21st, and this is actually a little bit out of the window on June 28th, but it is precisely on the three-quarter moon, which that's pretty interesting to me. The following week, July 5th and 6th, are the exact midpoint between the previous and next eclipses, so it will be an important moment. I've been pointing this moment out for quite some time. You can see this post here is February 2nd. I said July 5th and 6th coming to a theater near you. And what we're seeing is all of these things shaping up to it. This is also when the July new moon comes in. That's typically a more bullish time in the market. And so typically a narrative arrives with it, such as the last midpoint was January 10th and 11th, where the Bitcoin ETFs were approved. July 5th and 6th corresponds perfectly with the new moon, so it should actually be something bullish, believe it or not. So talk about whiplash. And we've seen these center points in eclipses have other events too, such as it was the exact moment that Ripple were sued by the SEC. The last midpoint was sort of a delayed bull trap, so maybe this midpoint is a little bit more of a bear trap. Remember, with whatever scary narrative shows up, US election season is just around the corner, too. So, both presidential candidates, Biden and Trump, will want your vote this year, and they're going to have to talk about crypto to get it. The first presidential debate is also on June 27th in some parts of the world and June 28th in others. So, how many votes does talking about crypto get you if the markets are going down? That thinking has led me to two possible scenarios. You have the stock markets rallying into the US election season, which is like October, November. October is also the next eclipse, as both candidates talk about how they will regulate crypto so that it can be adopted in the mainstream. The constant chatter bulls the market. Or you have a giant market crash that unfolds just before the election for which Biden is blamed, and crypto is heralded as the solution for ensuring money can always flow in like a financial freeze. So that's all, of course, if you vote for the right candidate. Now, maybe something else entirely happens. And I think back to 2020, 2020 was also, there was a big crash. There was also a big rally, and there was also an election year. And so I really can't take anything off the table, although I do like to think that, like, Trump is the face of consumer confidence, and so it makes sense to me that the markets are rallying as everybody anticipates he's going to become president and that he's going to do a lot of good things for crypto, but that doesn't actually have to be what happens. It would just be the belief that, he's going to do those things. So I want you to take a listen to this clip here, and I understand this isn't actually Donald Trump saying it, but we live in a time where parody is almost more reliable than the real news, and what you can get from this is that this is the sentiment of the people that are listening. This is what the masses think, and the masses are the people that buy in the markets. And the memes are the epitome of the mindset, so listening to this is just as valid as the real thing.
When I get to office, there will be no taxes on people making tips. You like crypto, vote for Trump.
Yeah, so you hear that, right? Trump's already positioning himself to be this figure for crypto, and there's a little window where they could get a lot of people to buy in because of what he says. I think of these elites using all of these opportunities the best that they possibly can, and I'm trying to think of like where we see the most confluences on everything. And when you look at Total 3, it's holding in there. Like if you are looking at it by the wicks, it doesn't look pretty, but at the same time, like I mean, all these pivotal moments in the market, they never do look pretty. They're always scary. They're always, what the hell is going to happen? None of us know. A0 here. Look, this is like textbook spring action coming in, and it's the same thing for Casper. Um, and so like you see a lot of alts coming into like significant areas, and to me this is providing some kind of like confluence. See this here, this is kind of like a double bottom, and we're not really seeing anything like real horribly scary on Bitcoin. This is like still a higher low here, and with Wyckoff method, we'd be back testing this area right in here, and so it's like if this area can hold, I think everything's fine, and we have like just enough time that you could kind of get like a little bit of a dip here, or a little bit of a dip in alts. Maybe you see like a recovery for like a day or two first or something, and so they hit us with a scary narrative, and then by July 5th and July 6th, like everything could flip around. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I know this is the midpoint between eclipses, so it's a very significant time where they're going to have some kind of event. In my opinion, they will definitely have an event, and it's taking place on a new moon, which is typically bullish. And that's just it. Is it's a setup that, like, as horrible as it feels looking at everything going on in the markets in some cases, the setup is actually more bullish when I look at it from this point of view. Now, I don't know what's going to happen because we can only go with the data that we have in front of us, and that's what I see. So in the meantime, I've kind of been entertaining myself with some shit coins. Like, well, this isn't a shit coin. Cheems is like quality, great investment, but they're pretty good for like helping out like the trading game in the short term. Because like you look at this is what April right here, and it has had a 82% drawdown. So these meme coins have gone through like entire bear markets, whole entire cycles in that amount of time. And so it's just like I've given myself a little bit more time to pick up on some trading techniques and stuff. So when it comes time for like the real show, it's like I think like when I look at like XRP, it's like moving in slow motion. It's like this is 7 years, and so it's just like, okay, when it gets into some kind of movement, it should hopefully seem like it's easy. That's the idea anyway. We'll see how it goes. And if anybody's looking for something interesting, I'm not going to say it, but Elon Musk was talking about this subject the other day, so I spliced together a bunch of X Files clips from that era, and it's shocking how perfectly it all was foretelling of what happened in 2020. So that's it. I'm going to keep it nice and short today. Good luck out there. Hang in there. I'll see you on the next one.